Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's Friday, May 12th, 2023, and there has been a resolution to the story that has been going on for 4 years almost, related to Lori Vallow Daybell and her children, Tylee Ryan, JJ Vallow, and Chad Daybell's wife, Tammy Daybell. There has been a trial going on in Idaho for the last 4 weeks for Lori Daybell. And today, a guilty verdict was given for Lori on all counts related to JJ, Tylee, and Tammy. So a lot of you have been asking me in my comments if I would go and do a video on the trial related to Lori Vallow Daybell. And I had not done any of them. I hadn't talked about the trial, although I've been watching some of the coverage. I think there had been so many videos and so many people covering the story that I just sort of felt like, okay, I don't know if I want to really talk about this. I did cover when the kids disappeared and then also when they were found. And I covered a lot of this on my Instagram and on my Facebook, but I haven't really talked about it on YouTube. Now, a lot of you that watch me have said that a lot of the coverage that I've been doing about the Brown family and their polygamous sex with the Apostolic United Brethren and the Mormon faith, or I wouldn't say, I guess Mormon extremism, have said that you've been seeing a lot of parallels between some of the beliefs that Lori Daybell and Chad Daybell held versus some of the beliefs that some of these Mormon fundamentalists hold. Knowing that there's been so much in the news about Lori and Chad, I just wanted to do a video to let you guys know that this guilty verdict is an amazing moment for all of the family members that have been fighting for justice for JJ, Tylee, and Tammy. And in truth, it's really just another testament about how religious extremism can really take things so far, and how people who believe how people that get into some faith can really take things to a level and to a degree where they get lost in the faith and they sort of abandon any sense of sensibility and also get wrapped up in the whole power dynamics of it, the greed of it, and this, superiority component of it, where they feel like they have the ability to play God, act like God, and be God. I spent a lot of time on this channel talking about extremism as it relates to people that follow the leader, Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith, who started the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints back in the 1800s, and who was really, in many ways, a man that, there's a lot of evidence that he's just not God or didn't speak to God, and certainly isn't another version of Jesus Christ, who wrote a book, the Book of Mormon, which large portions of it have obviously been proven to be plagiarized. And Joseph has a long history of little criminal activities. He was actually in jail when his life came to an end. And the dark secret of polygamy, that was what Joseph was doing despite not telling really anyone in the church. And then he was found out by people that he was doing this too, because he was taking people's wives that were out on missions that he was sending them on. And Joseph he created this very cult-like church that people that get into it, because of the way that this faith is designed and this idea that people can have revelations, it sort of creates this subset where, like, people that go to the extreme in this faith can decide that they are the prophet, they are the ones that get direct revelations from God, they are the ones that God is speaking to. And I think it in some ways can create this subset of groups where people then claim to be prophets, claim to be God, and we see what happens so frequently when people find themselves in a position where they feel like they have a pipeline to speaking for God. In the case of Lori and Chad Daybell, Chad obviously was writing fiction books, and he literally thought, over time that these fictional books were his reality, and he gets involved in all of these like doomsday prepper groups that are like fringe groups that are not really, they're like affiliated but not really affiliated with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And he starts developing these really dark beliefs about translated beings and the darkness and the light. And a lot of that is very similar to what we're seeing right now with Warren Jeffs. And he's got kids that are being kidnapped and disappearing with the FLDS. And he's also talking about translated beings and darkness and light and how everyone needs to move from darkness to light. The one thing I can tell you is that darkness and light are talked about a lot in the faith, because there are people that have light and then there are the people that have dark, and those that are of the light are supposed to be of Jesus Christ, of God, and those that are the dark ones are supposed to be those of Satan. And the original doctrine by this church, it used to be that the darkness was actually people that had dark skin, and the lightness were those that were white. Now, obviously, the church has removed that doctrine in the 1970s. And so today, the darkness and light is more obscure, more, it's good versus bad. And anytime you put anything in theology and good versus bad, people can take it to extremes. I've had a lot of thoughts about why I think Lori did this or why I think Chad did this. And all I can say is that in the time that I've covered religious fundamentalism, religious extremism, there never seems to be a complete answer for why. I think the prosecutors in this case did a really good job of explaining that at the end of the day, a lot of this came down to money, because they were getting money for what was happening to all these people that were going missing and their lives being ended. And then power, because ultimately, if you believe you're God and you think that you can control the destiny of anyone and it's your job to save the world from the 100 and be part of the 144,000, and you are the anointed and you are related to Jesus Christ and you've been with Moroni, and if you have those senses of feelings, you get so disconnected from reality that really drastic things can happen. I also think that because of her sense of faith and wanting to have a sense of belonging, she probably got a sense of belonging within a group. And the sad part is that she and Chad just came together and made horrible choices, went after money, went after the power, and wanted to be together at all costs. Does this mean that anyone that gets involved in faith can go to these extremes? No. What I think about for Lori and Chad is that while the faith plays a large part of it, I think the underlying component of it is a desire for money and power and getting rid of all of the obstacles that stand in their way. It's been 4 years for the families of JJ and Tylee and Tammy, where they've been lost in a limbo, where they don't really know, the delays, all of the delays, specifically because of Lori's mental health. And clearly, it would be, she's competent, obviously, today to understand these, and she's competent to understand what she's done. But it's hard to ignore that her mental health could have also played a role in this process. Not to say that that's an excuse, but it's an explanation for why she might have gotten in as deep as she did. It was her choice to do what she did to those kids. And then it was her choice and Chad's to lie to everyone about what they were doing, make people feel very scared, lie to her son about it, and take children away from the world far too soon. When JJ went missing, he was 7, and he was a little boy that had autism. And I got really connected to the story because my little boy was 6 at the time and also has autism. And I kept thinking about how could someone do this to a child with autism. I remember like he had a service dog and she had gotten rid of the service dog. And then at the same time, she was trying to say that, you know, JJ was safe and he just had to be in hiding. And I just remember that whole time thinking like, there's just no way. Like, how could someone do this to a child with autism? Someone so innocent, someone that had such a rough beginning and had grandparents that loved him. Why did it have to end like this? And then for Tylee, I just thought about this girl that had so much promise, and she was like so young still. Like, she hadn't even, you know, she's just graduated high school. She's like at the very beginning of her becoming an adult, and it's all gone in an instant. And how Lori and Chad roped in all of these friends to become co-conspirators, and all of these people that got sucked into this very strange belief system. And it's just another testament to me that there's not any one symptom or reason why people get involved in religious extremism. I think those that do get sucked into it are looking a lot of the time for senses of belonging, a sense of narcissists love them, I believe, because of the power they get. And I think at the end of the day, Chad and Lori's relationship was so toxic and so combustible that they wanted to get rid of everyone that stood in their way of whatever their quote unquote mission was. I've thought a lot about JJ's grandparents, Kay and Larry Woodcock, who were really like the catalysts to getting national attention about his disappearance. And I've thought a lot about her son, Colby, who also did a lot to try to help, and just how much this family has been just like torn apart and destroyed. And I know that a guilty verdict doesn't take or bring those children back, but I hope that it will give those people that have been missing and lost their loved ones a sense of closure and justice. She hasn't been sentenced yet, and she won't be sentenced probably for the next 3 months. And the prosecutors are apparently extremely happy with the outcome. Lori showed absolutely no emotions when they reached when they announced the verdict. The prosecutors said, "We want to assure each of you that we remain committed to pursuing justice for Tylee, Ryan, JJ Vallow, and Tammy Daybell. We also want to express sincere appreciation to the many members of law enforcement and the community who tirelessly worked together to hold Vallow Daybell accountable." The prosecutors, Rob Wood and Lindsay Blake, said in a joint statement. I'm just happy for the families that they got the verdict that they wanted. It will never bring back JJ. It will never bring back Tylee. It will never bring back Tammy. And we'll never know why these two decided to get so lost in a faith and a weird cult where they decided that this was their only option. But finally, we can say justice has been served. And let's hope that she goes to prison for life. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.